Well, my name is David Groth. As I'd mentioned earlier, those of you that showed up for my team session, I am the technical solutions specialist as well as the modern workplace practice leader. I've been at Network Center for about 3 years, but been in the computer industry for about 25 years. And in the last, I'm going to say 5 years, but especially in the last 3 years, there has been a marked increase in the number of security incidents. And I think we can all agree on that. I don't care what level, what group, what part of the industry that you're in or what industry you're in. It is top of mind for every business. There has been a 300% increase in ransomware over the past year. Just the past year. I can't count at Network Center. It seems like every time we get oh, did you hear so-and-so was hit by such and such a ransomware attack? By the way, for my benefit, I couldn't see because of where I was sitting. How many people don't have MFA right now? I'm going to, don't have everybody's got MFA. Thank goodness. Okay. Because the one overriding principle, I'm going to ask it a different way. How many people don't have cyber insurance? Okay, don't have cyber insurance. Okay, if you're going to get cyber insurance, you're going to need to make sure that you have MFA. It is the simplest, the cheapest way of ensuring that you have just even the most basic set. We actually had to install a firewall recently for a company that did not have just even the most basic protections in place. Okay, so the point being that, a lot of people think, well, I'm a small business, don't really need these big, measures. No, you don't need big measures, but you still need measures in place. 1 in 4 small businesses that they've had some kind of security breach. The rest of them are security breaches that will happen. It's not if it happens, it's when it happens. And I'm the fearmonger here. I'm the one coming out here to say, it's going to happen, okay? It is coming out here, and it's going to happen. You just need to know how best to be prepared for it. And over 70% of customers are thinking that it's becoming more of a business risk. You think? How many people have experienced some kind of, I want to use the word carefully here, some kind of incident, maybe that's the best word, some kind of incident.
Reportable incident?
I'm sorry? Just an incident. I'm just going to say an incident because not all of them are serious enough but somebody clicked on the wrong link. That could potentially be an incident, right? A cyber insurance reportable incident, but an incident nonetheless. Could I see those hands again? Okay. I think you can just see that's about 70% of the room. And that number is really just going to grow. And the average cost, as you can see, one of the statistics is $108,000. Now, I don't know about you, but just as any small business, just forking out $108,000, that's a couple months of revenue normally, profit, couple months profit. So, I know I've been talking and Abby's been talking about Microsoft 365. So how do we handle this in 365? Well, first of all, we try to build a zero trust foundation. We want to make sure that everything is encrypted at rest and in transit. So all of the products that we've been talking about do exactly that. We make sure that no matter where this data is located, we have access to it and we can control it. Then we also want to do things like endpoint management, that we have the ability to, when our company data is out in the wild, or it's in the cloud, or it's somewhere, that we can manage it. And as Abby was referring to, that she tried to copy data off her endpoint, that we can't do it. We can manage that aspect. Basically controlling the attack surface. That's just, security 101. But as anybody knows, the more you tighten that grip on security, what do? You make it almost unusable. And again, I'm going to refer back to Abby. She said, 26-character password. Yeah, that's insanely secure. But when you have to change that every 30 days, what do people start doing when you put a 26-character password? What do? First thing, write it down. How secure is that? That's the Ferris Bueller technique. Open up the drawer, see the password, and I'll go home. Not Ferris Bueller, I'm sorry. War Games, movie reference. Got it? All right, thank you. All right. So that exact thing. So it's a balance, right? We've got to balance security with usability and ease of management. So some of the most common security threats, we've all seen these: malware, viruses, phishing, and ransomware. But malware and viruses, a lot of times, those are brought in by the third one, phishing. Probably, by and large, the most common method. You get an email link, and Abby, refresh my memory. Was that not the incident you were referring to where the person didn't have MFA, the CEO didn't want it?
Yep, and he clicked on it.
He clicked on the link. Came in, brought one of the other three in, and there, it cost him $1 million bucks. One mouse click, $1 million bucks. 1.5, sorry.
Yep.
That's all it took. One mouse click, $1 million bucks. Even worse is when it's ransomware. They clicked it, and they were IT. They had access to multiple sets of files. Well, I'll come back to that.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Copy. So how many of you have
Sorry.
security awareness training with your employees? Yeah. So they'll send a fake email. You'll see if they click it. If they click it, they say, "Uh-oh," you kind of have that in there. It's important to have that in play. But if they click it, you have training immediately after that they're required to go to.
Mandatory, yep.
Yeah, make that mandatory. And make sure you know what your secure score is if you are in the Microsoft Cloud, because you want to make sure that number is higher and not lower. So if you take an action item away from this event, it would need to work with your account person here at Network Center and figure out what that looks like.
Yep.
Especially with more threats that are coming right now.
Absolutely.
And more threats hit around the holidays, believe it or not.
Absolutely. My bad. Let me get rid of that for you.
You can close him.
All right.
I don't know. I closed my teams. I don't know.
So, point being, though, with all of these types of attacks and everything that's happening, it's important to understand that it seems counterintuitive, but 365 actually has a way of keeping all of this in check and the ability to manage it. And you probably don't even know about it. But we'll come back to that in just a minute. The point being that almost all of we're dealing with a large problem, and the problem is only getting bigger. How many people here have business premium licensing? You maybe don't know, but okay, a couple of you. Okay, how many people have a mix of licenses? Okay, how many just don't know? Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. So one of the most I'm going to say the most popular items, and one of the more common things right now with Microsoft is a license called Business Premium. Now, it's not for everybody, but it sits right in a very particular place where it's kind of I like to call it the kitchen sink license, because it's made specifically for small businesses and those with 300 users and below. Okay, but what it includes, and when I say it's the kitchen sink, it includes the kitchen sink. It includes the collaboration. It includes security. It includes cyber threats. Abby mentioned Secure Score. It includes the training that we were just talking about, the phishing post-phishing security training. It includes managing devices. You've probably heard the product called Intune. Okay? It includes licensing for all of that stuff, all in bundle. The title of this presentation is Do More with Less. Now, you don't have to have this, but we're here to talk about this for one reason and one reason only, and that is you may be paying for products kind of all over the place, and it's built as like you started with one license, right? It got you Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Teams, right? But then, hey, we needed to add, Entra, whatever they call it now, Azure, P1 for conditional access, and then you needed to add something else, and then you added something else, and now your monthly bill is, it's whatever it is, right? Now, as Abby was saying, being able to look at the licenses and go, hey, we don't need this. If you look at something like Business Premium, you can consolidate a lot of those things and then give, say, your frontline workers the bare minimum, and your we call them knowledge workers, basically anybody who's sitting at a desk all day long doing a lot of these things, the premium SKU. But what it does do is it provides all of that And specifically what I'm talking about here is Defender. Gives you a lot of that piece. It gives you Defender, Intune. It gives you, and in my previous session, if you happen to attend it, I talked about data governance. It gives you data governance. It gives you data loss prevention. It gives you all these other premium SKUs you normally have to pay for, onesie, twosie. They're all in here. And I'm happy to go through and show you everything that's in there, but the list is, it's like 200 different things that are in this. So how Microsoft approaches 365 in Business Premium is they actually do it with fourfold. They do it with identity security, so you get MFA, you get the premium MFA SKU, which gives you conditional access. So if you've ever done MFA rollouts, you know that it's not just about turning on or turning off MFA, it's about turning on MFA under certain conditions so that you're not over MFAing. That's a word, I'm going to claim it, you heard it here first. So you're not over MFAing, but you're also saying, I want to do it more when they're, say, out of country. Let's say you do have people that travel to Russia, to China, to some of the high incident rate countries. Let's go ahead and just MFA them more. Okay, fair statement? So also things like self-service password reset. You don't get that standard. And normally you'd have to pay an extra $6 per user per month to get that. That's included in this. And on and on and on. Conditional access, dynamic groups. Device security. This is where we go into things like USB keys. Can I plug in a USB key to my device? Can I do some of those items? That's with the Intune product. This is an all-encompassing Defender security idea. Application security. Restricting copy and paste. That's the very first item. I'm really sorry, everyone, that I have a cough. Those of you with kids, you know that they're little walking petri dishes, and I have 4. So Monday they brought home something, and I got over it. I can speak. So, any rate, data loss prevention. And then email restrictions like do not forward. They can't send emails off-site. They can't send them anywhere. And then document security, kind of another big one. Being able to say this document has this kind of control over it. Revoke access to documents. And then tracking document sensitivity labels. Is this document sensitive? Like is it an HR document? Is it a financial document? Those are highly sensitive documents. Versus this is some promotional literature that we're giving out. Not necessarily a sensitive document. I think you get my point. So, unified identity management. One of the things is we secure everything using one identity, and that is Entra. Entra is Azure Active Directory. That's how you may have known it or may know it. But we use this across all of the applications. We can also use it federated with outside applications, with outside systems. So if you happen to use programs like Salesforce, okay, you happen to use it with AWS, Google Cloud, they can interface with this one identity. And if you do that, then all of those secure identity features like MFA, like conditional access, all of those things can be managed in one location. Also, throughout the idea of zero trust, we can enable the strong authentication. We can also facilitate the single sign-on, as I've just mentioned. And through a combination of conditional access, all the other items, we can perform that continual access evaluation, ongoing. So from hour to hour, minute to minute, is this app authenticated? Is it allowed to be used? So here's how Defender for Business participates. Here's the whole piece, the whole overarching piece that you pay for once with Business Premium. You get threat and vulnerability management. That's, I'm really sorry. That's what's out there. What's out there and am I vulnerable to it? It's a beautiful dashboard that says, okay, this thing just came out into the wild. Am I vulnerable? And it'll say, these are the 4 computers that are vulnerable to it because they're not patched. Click, fix it. It's literally that simple. Attack surface reduction. Hey, you've got these ports open on these computers or this area. We need to go ahead and take care of that. Or these patches are not up to date. Okay? Or these computers have shares that will allow cross sharing of files or devices, what have you. Also, this is considered next generation protection because it's part of an all-encompassing security suite. It's not just an antivirus. A lot of companies will say that, well, we have next generation protection. Well, if you don't talk to the other security systems, then you're not next generation protection. A lot of these cybersecurity companies are requiring specifically, now, unfortunately, it's a generic definition, but they're requiring next generation protection, that it be an all-encompassing security suite. Endpoint detection and response, we're talking about the endpoint, where we look for malware, viruses, anything suspicious, including zero-day attacks, a script somebody has written that looks suspicious, and anything on that actual device where we want to monitor, look at it in real time. And the final one is probably my personal favorite and coolest feature ever, automated investigation and remediation. You could have several attacks happening on your network, know about it, but not even know it happened until the next day when you get, oh, wow, we had this happen, and see it in your dashboard. But the system is trained enough to know that this is serious. I can't get a hold of anybody. I'm just literally going to take care of it. Stop threats from executing before they become a problem. The best example is cross device. It's like somebody clicks on a link and it goes to 12 other devices. Like you've got it shares, it scans the network, tries to find other computers that would have this same weakness, which is a very common tactic. Well, as soon as it sees a program that's say it's what am I blanking on? The scripting language. It'll come to me in a minute. The basically command line scripting language. PowerShell. Thank you. It comes a PowerShell script that can be run that will do all of this. It says, hey, this is a sus PowerShell script. I'm not going to let it run. As soon as it hits it, it's running on the system already, and it'll go, nope, not going to let it happen, and shuts down the whole computer. The really cool part is if they keep trying, it can actually isolate that device from the network, and it can only talk from the device to Defender. Just that's it. You can literally isolate that device from the rest of the network. It can only talk between those two entities. Okay? It will not talk to the rest of the network, just those two devices. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking. Hey, is this Defender for Windows? Like, I heard Defender was crap. Well, back in the day, back when Windows 8 came out, it was kind of a hog, and it was kind of, I'll be the first one to say it was kind of crap. But a lot has happened since then. Defender is now, they've done third-party independent tests. Defender is actually one of, if not the best, local endpoint management and cloud-managed antivirus, because it's an integrated solution. I can't stress this enough. It's not just an antivirus. It's not just the just part. It's all-encompassing. So I can tell, hey, there's malware happening, and I can trace it back to so-and-so clicked on this link, and it went to 4 other people. And then that person clicked on the link, and now it's spread somewhere else. You can't do that with just an antivirus program. So, another thing is, it no longer is just a Windows thing. It works on servers. It works on Mac OS. It works on Android, iOS, virtual desktop, Windows 365. And it requires Intune for some of these things. And also servers require a special type of license, but that's a sidebar. And we kind of already went back to this, but it does say we've got all of these peoples, but there's one configuration website. It's called security.microsoft.com. You log in, you can take a look at anybody using Defender. Yeah, what do you think?
It's complex.
Okay, it's complex.
We've had it for well over a year, and I still don't know everything.
You still don't know where everything is.
They keep changing it.
That's both a good thing and a bad thing. That's something that we can talk about because that's really, they're actually changing some of it. One of the things that we talked about Copilot, they're actually adding Copilot for Defender. So you can just say, what are my top 5 threats? Say that. And it'll come back with, here's what you need to do. Step 1. And then you do it. And it goes, okay, you've done that. Step 2. So you're not the first person to have that comment. So how about, who else raised their hand over here? Yeah.
Did I catch it right? You said the Defender is included with the business premium?
Yes, Defender for Business. Now there are a few like stars of what is not included with Defender for Business. Like you don't.
Separate from the business premium licensing.
It's included.
Yep. But Defender for Business is included with Business Premium.
Okay. And is there a separate setup that we would need to identify to say we want to use this?
Yes.
Okay.
Short answer, yes.
Everything happens in your admin portal, so
Right.
they give you access.
Right.
to all the different applications.
You would have to onboard things, but here's the thing: is if you're logging into any Microsoft product, certain aspects of the cool part is certain aspects of Defender are already looking out for you. Like if you got Windows devices and you're authenticating through MFA, for example, it'll say, "Hey, I see you're running a Windows device. Let me just check." It's pretty neat. Now, if you're running a third-party antivirus, it says, "Okay, you're running third-party antivirus. I'll let it take care of its job, but let me handle the rest." So it's pretty neat in that regard. All right. And
Yeah, Microsoft actually, none of their security systems are like acquired. It's all homegrown, and over
Yep.
the next 5 years, they're investing $5 billion into their security stack.
Yep.
They take security very serious. It's up in the upper quadrant of Gartner as well.
Yep.
Give you a minute to take a drink of water.
No, thank you.
I'm his sidekick.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, the old idea of the reason people used to say it was Windows Defender, and that was the free antivirus you got with Windows Home. And I think they could have personally, I think they could have made a better choice of calling it something different. But no, really. But in reality, this product is incredible. If you take any time to go through and you work with anything, like there's the event, the alerts and events, if you've ever gone through that, you can see a multi-stage event. And you go, wow, I didn't even know we had this problem. And you wouldn't until it got a breach, like a full-on breach. So it's more of like the problem with security professionals is if you do your job, I'm going to make a joke. Doing your job as a security professional is kind of like wetting your pants in dark pants. If you can do it and nobody will notice, right? If you do it right, nobody will notice. Anyway, it's an old joke, but a good one. The point is, if you do your job right, nobody will notice as a security professional. Same thing with Defender. If you do your job right, you don't even know it's there. But then try doing it without them. Okay? But it does do it across platform. It does use industry-leading malware. As she was saying, it's homegrown. And it's constantly checking up to the minute homegrown threats. They have their own security SOC team.
Oh, can I talk about this?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Their team is so cool. They have a red team and a black team, or a red team and a blue team, and their mission every quarter is to find the threat. And so they'll actually go up against each other and try to hack Microsoft's system, down to the point of dressing into like a maintenance workers uniform and coming in and saying they need to access the server room because something isn't working there. Like that's how in depth they get, and I totally geek out about it. And if I could change professions, that's what I would do.
Yeah,
Seriously. And
it's
every winning team every quarter gets a $25,000 bonus to see how many threats they can expose within the
Right.
environment.
and
It's super cool.
fun fact. Now you don't get this you get email access to this team under Defender for Business. Email only. The high level access, you get chat access to this team. So, but that team. So they will actually help you if you're having problems analyzing a particular event. You can get access to that team. So that does not, in an emergency situation, I'm just going to be upfront and say that's not the best route. But it's nice to know if you're just doing day to day, like, hey, is this a problem? Is this a problem? Is this a problem? You're really the best people to get access to.
And they can bring the threat like down to the actual location. Like we did a cyber tour, and they're wearing HoloLenses, and they're bringing it in down to the apartment that the threat is coming.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
That's how deep they get into this.
Absolutely.
situation.
Yep. So protecting, still on the zero trust, I've mentioned it multiple times, but I don't think everybody completely gets it, that all data is encrypted at rest and in transit. We can classify, and you've heard me talk about this entire AI thing that's going to be happening both in other industries and other companies as well as Microsoft. The key thing is your data. Classify it. Get it under governance. Know what you have. Know where it is. And that's going to be incredibly difficult with on-premise solutions. It's a lot easier to do when you're in the cloud.
Even into Microsoft Teams, so a lot of you deal with sensitive data, so you can, if your employee wanted to put a credit card number in Teams, it's actually going to say, oh, sorry, that's restricted. Pick up the phone basically and call. So it'll block Social Security, credit card,
PI, and that's a template. You don't actually have to go in and manually set up rules. They literally say, what are your governance things? Oh, checkbox, PII, checkbox, HIPAA. You can literally, and then apply. It's that simple. So how can we then turn this into doing more with less? Well, vendor license cost consolidation. As Abby was mentioning, you're probably going to have these kinds of different vendor costs, different solutions for each area. You then already may be paying for business premium licensing. Well, depending on your solution and your requirements, it may make sense to just roll it into one. May. Notice I said may. This is not a universal solution for everyone. Defender is a great solution, but it may not make sense to get business premium to get it. I want to be upfront about that. But as a representative of NCI, I'm like, we're happy to have that discussion with you and say, look, here's your Microsoft licensing. Let's look at what you've got. Maybe we can make this a better fit for you and save you several $1,000s. Same thing with reducing your cost of risk. If you've got a Defender or a security platform, make sure that you're reducing that risk and you're covered as much as possible. We can also, your IT administration and deployment. If you've already got all Microsoft products, or at the least you've got your IT infrastructure running on Microsoft, and quite honestly, I would say the majority of people do. Is anybody here running all Linux? Okay, so for the attendees here, I can say it's pretty safe that you're running mostly in a Windows environment, or at the very least, a majority Windows environment. Is that a fair statement? Okay. And because we can do all these things in a cloud environment, we save physical and travel costs. We're also going to save on automation process improvements, because a lot of these things, remember what I said about automated remediation? A lot of these things can be done by the system without even your knowledge. They're just stopping things from running so that you don't have to worry about it. And then, of course, we're changing out, rather than having to buy one security solution, you're just changing it to an OpEx model. That's kind of the whole idea behind the cloud type services. I do want to go over just briefly some of the more small business plans that you may be familiar with. There are more, but we can talk about that conversation offline. You have business basic, business standard, business premium. I'm going to shift over here just briefly. The one that probably we sell the most of is going to be in this area or this area. We are starting to see a lot more here, because as the security trends are happening, it's been ramping up, because people want to add the Azure. Old habits die hard, Entra. And as they want to add Intune, and they want to add Defender and some of these other pieces. You add a couple of pieces, okay, now you're up to the price of business premium. Because this is $12.50, this is $22.
It's important to know that business premium is for 300 users and below.
Correct.
And so this is an enterprise class software for a smaller customer.
Absolutely.
And then I know some of you I've spoken to have F1. The complement to that would be F3, because it would include the security solutions. And so Hero SKU or Best in Class would be premium with F3 for frontline workers.
Correct. And you can mix and match. There's nothing saying that you can't.
You could do 300 of each if you wanted.
You bet.
But then you'd have to bring in third-party solutions, which would kind of bring
Augment and go from there. Yeah. But I just want to at least go over that and show you that, hey, you're getting this, but you notice you're also getting, okay, now we've got Intune, information protection, Defender, conditional access, and you've got virtual desktop. You get a virtual desktop license.
And you get Windows for Business if you want to upgrade to
Correct.
That's free.
Yeah, so now you can upgrade your home,
Your OS.
your OS. Yep, you get a license for that, which that right there is pretty valuable. It's an awesome SKU for small businesses. That is the end of our presentation. Now, do you have any questions for either of us? Yes, in the back.
So if you're moving all of your security to that, then are you disabling and not paying for antivirus?
You effectively could, yes. You really have the choice. Defender has the option of, as I said before, keeping, like, here's a philosophy. I'll give you a philosophy thing, because we get this question a lot. Some IT philosophy is what we call a best breed philosophy. We want to use the best that every organization or every IT vendor has to offer. That's one approach. The other one is let's consolidate so that we don't have, I like to call it we have too many single panes of glass. So there's that approach. So to answer your question, yes, you can just disable that antivirus and use the entire Defender suite, and that would handle both the antivirus, anti-malware, everything for you. Does that answer your question?
It's less tools to manage.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's an interface you're familiar with. Yes.
I just have a question about kind of encouraging those who are afraid of change to kind of go on the same program as like Teams, Office 365. We have different offices that use OneDrive, one uses Dropbox, but they're stuck in their ways because that's
Yeah.
what they know, that's what they're
Right.
used to. How would you encourage those type of people that are kind of stuck in their old habits to?
I think we both have a similar but different
Yeah,
answer.
it's about creating champions, right? And if you create champions within your different different parts of your organization, you're going to get people excited about it. And so I always say, don't have a manager be a champion. Have a person in your organization in that department be that champion. The oldest person in your organization should be a champion because they're the ones that are harder to change, right?
The person most resistant
Yeah,
to change.
most resistant. Yeah, the newest person in your organization because they want to come in and they want to make an impact, right? So recognize who those champions are in each department and cultivate that. Bring them to coffee talks, teach them how to do it, and once they start getting excited, everybody else will get excited. So do small focus groups from that perspective. And I love adoption change management.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So do I. One of the things I will add to that is that, when you say that there's hard to change, a lot of times it's just a matter of showing yes, but, or yes, and. So one of the things that I went into a company of, they did heating and plumbing. And they were like the old guard. Everyone was old guard. I don't want technology. And they took out state-of-the-art iPads, but would fill things out with Excel spreadsheets on the iPad, then take those Excel spreadsheets, print them out, then take that printout to somebody else who would re-enter it into another Excel spreadsheet. But this worked for many, many years, and I can't fault them for that because it was a workflow that worked for them. So there's nothing inherently wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But it's like showing them, okay, there's a better way, and here's why it's better, okay? And it will make your life easier, and here's why, okay? Just because it's better doesn't mean just because it's new doesn't mean it's better, right?
Yeah.
Another example is like file shares. Hey, I can make it work for you easily, like, taking Teams, OneDrive's links, putting them in their Explorer so they work just the same way their other one does because they're used to seeing their F drive. Well, I can put it doesn't say F, now it just says marketing instead of F.
I think about operational efficiencies too. Like I'll sit down with a group of customers in their organization. I'll break them out into little focus groups, and I'll ask them if they could solve the top 3 business challenges that they have to help them be more productive. What would they be? And then we'll sit down and we'll show them how to solve that through the technology that they already have in place. And a lot of light bulbs come off.
Yeah. Technology is a tool like any other.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
making sure you can apply it.
So we can have further conversations with you about that. Absolutely. Anything else? Yeah.
So you mentioned that the Defender for Business is with the Business Premium license. What version of Defender comes with the standard license?
There is no security with standard.
None was standard, no.
We have computers that have Defender on the
Well,
standard license.
Wait a minute, let's be clear on that. You get Defender for Windows
Yeah.
on the computer. And that is a fundamental, like it's a firewall and it's a thing, but it doesn't communicate across the organization. So what this is essentially, it's called what we call an XDR. So it manages the entire organization's security as a whole. So you can see like cross-platform events. Defender for Windows, what it would do is tell you on that computer as you're sitting in front of it, hey, there's a virus. Or, hey, this is doing something weird. We've all seen it when we try to install a program that needs to communicate. You get that little box that pops up and says, hey, will you allow this through the firewall? Well, this would allow you to, company-wide, saying, hey, this program is trying to talk, and so is it over here, and so is it over here, and it's because Jane clicked on this link from this email. So that, see the difference?
And if you have the two, it's probably cheaper for you to upgrade because you're going to get all that additional features. So you can upgrade too.
So if I have users who are not extremely technically savvy, they just use their computer for the day-to-day stuff, and they have Windows Defender on, but I have premium, am I able to see that, or does everybody?
You would be able to see their security activity as well as block them from doing
Certain things.
certain things, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
important. You can block any application.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not a case that everybody has to have premium.
Oh, no, the users would have to have premium. That is correct,
Yeah,
not
you're-
just you.
Yeah, you're going to want to look at an Intune, Azure Active Directory, MFA policy.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else?
I came in late, but what is the difference between premium and E5, or are they the same, just different user accounts?
That's multiple. That's a big question. So business premium specifically is, yeah.
Go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to bring it up.
So business premium is limited to 300 users and below. E5 is an enterprise SKU. E5 is the super plus version, if you will, of it. Actually even includes things like Teams Phone, Teams Calling. It includes almost the entire catalog of Microsoft products.
Like a perfect site. And
Oh, there you go. Yep.
When you-
I love this site.
I love to standardize, and I won't let you buy ME5 unless you are looking to see your like data analytics. If you have a play there, so which oh my gosh, I'm like
Block
totally
60.
like, huh?
No, what are you talking about?
No, the data. So telephony and
DOP.
Power BI.
Oh, Power BI. Yeah,
strategy.
yeah.
Those licenses are like $10 and $8. So it's an additional $18 you don't need to spend.
Yeah.
And so we'll actually sit at the table with you and maybe you do an ME3 with a security add-on to get to that, and you're still saving money, right?
Right.
We never want to sell you something you don't
And-
need.
and it
Premium
is-
will cover you though below.
And at NCI, we
This is shaking.
we oftentimes get into that blind spot. And I'm going to be here to once say that I sit between the engineers and the salespeople, and I'm going to be the one to apologize to say that, look, we see on a regular basis what you're trying to do, but we're not in your shoes every day. So please come back to us and talk to us and say, hey, could we do a license eval? Can we look at our spend on 365? And maybe E5 is a better choice than what you're running now.
Yeah.
Maybe Business Premium is a better choice from what you're running now. And let's look at the whole. Let's not get forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a fair statement? So, and does that answer your question? Because there's this m365maps.com. Can you see that? That website is chef's kiss, beautiful for
Yeah.
Microsoft licensing. Matter of fact, we use this tool. Was it some either ex or current Microsoft employee made this? If
Yes,
memory-
yeah,
memory
and it's
serves.
cool because everything's a hyperlink. So if you had questions about like anti-phishing, it's going to take you to the link to that actually explains it. Microsoft recommends ME5 for healthcare. So if you are a healthcare organization, you would do like an ME5 with a F3 license for your frontline workers.
Yep.
So it goes down to industry as well. If you're a regulated industry, what do you need from that perspective?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I wanted to add on to that. We're currently running E3s on 99% of our users.
Very common. Yep.
Defender included with that.
I think on Defender you get a certain.
ME3 or OE3?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's a good one. ME3? There's two. There's ME3 and OE3. Office E365 and okay.
So that would be this one. So here would be the difference for you if we
Right.
drive down.
There is I think it's Defender for Endpoint. Right there. That's Plan 2.
Did I find it? There you go.
That's for Office Plan 2. Keep going. Defender Plan 1. No, you do not.
No.
But you do get the phishing and the email safe attachments with Exchange. So you do get that for sure.
How many users are you? Yeah.
Yeah, you do get. See, with Business Premium, you get the anti-phishing real-time reports, Safe attachment,
But to
safe
save
links.
money, you can mix and match. So you could do 300 premium,
Yeah.
you could do 400 ME3, and then your costs go down. So you
You would be way,
mix and match that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you'd
yeah.
be way below what you needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other questions? Hopefully you learned something. We kept you awake now that the air conditioning's finally on during David's session. I don't know how that worked in his favor.
Well, it was the punctuation of the coughs. That helps.
Yeah, thanks for saving him, by the
Yeah.
way. All right, well, thanks for having us. If you have other questions, we can do follow-up conversations. We can do Teams demos for your organization, talk about adoption and change management. We are the business behind the brand for Network Center, so they can sell anything because they have us at their backbone. I have the winner. Woohoo! So the Evolve, and I need a picture with the winner. That's a part of it. Follow us on LinkedIn if you haven't. But Brad Mochenbacher, congratulations.
Right there.
Yes. So I will put up the first slide. Please follow us on LinkedIn. My QR code is in the bottom for information and reach out. So let's go ahead and do that photo, sir. Congratulations and thank you.